So we have today's topic on the SOC perspectives, the topics which are related to the firewall we are going to discuss, and the vendors, that means the brands which provides this firewalls, and let's understand the IPS, IDS, and few of the IPS, HIPS, and NIPS. Also about the proxy and the types of the proxy, honeypots, and WAF. These are all like interlinked till the email security solutions. Last time I have taken the email security solutions along with the practical session. I think very few of them has come to the institute at that time. I have given all this. I mean, with respect to the email security, I have demonstrated the real-time session. Give me a minute. Yeah, I would request everybody to mute. So yesterday's session also I have recorded, and I will be sharing that today. And also, I think few of them has missed that session, and you can go through with that recording. So yesterday's session was all about regarding the general analysis on the phishing URL, and without even a paid tools, you could still get a complete analysis, or kind of like the more than the basic analysis. You can define and you can decide whether the URL which you have received is a phishing related or not. Okay. So I have this. So let me go through the firewall. So what is firewall? What is firewall? Give your thought process. I mean, whatever just one line, two line, whatever. If you don't know, also what is your assumptions towards firewall? What is a firewall? Okay. Yeah. So basically, this is a kind of a security solution which will have a control whether, if you don't want to allow any restricted traffic from the outside to inside or inside to outside. Now the best example is from inside to outside is, I think most of them are working for any of XYZ corporate company, and you have seen you are being restricted to browse certain sites like Facebook, or might be some of the social media sites, or some of the uh, even YouTube, or some of the Gmail. So the organization or the company is restricting you to not to browse such kind of websites in the company laptop, or probably in the company premises. So what it is happening is indirectly. So you have connected to this router, and all these connections are with respective to the system 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically these are the workstations, right? So now you are not allowed to browse certain sites like social media sites. So what they are doing is they are blocking those IPs In what? Firewall. Now every website will have the IP. So basically these are provided by the ISP, right? So these are blocked here in the network firewall. Likewise, if you don't want it to entertain certain website traffic into your company, so this firewall will block. So for that you need to collect the incoming IPs. Getting my point? So this is a dummy dummy firewall, and if you write a rule that I don't want it to see my internal employees browsing certain social media sites or any restricted sites in my organization. So you have a solution where you could able to add those IPs is you can add up to the firewall, right? And you don't want to see uh, certain sites communicating or coming to your organization in your vicinity, then also you can block with the help of firewall. So this is a two-way process where you can able to restrict the data from and traffic coming outside to inside, inside to outside. Clear? So how it works? So it does allow and blocks any traffic. It is IP and port filtering device. So it works on the ACL, that means access control list rules. So it has implicit deny rule by default. So what they could able to do is they could able to block that particular IP, maybe a destination IP, or maybe the ports, and whatever the action you wanted to take, whether you wanted to allow, drop, or deny, you could able to do it in the firewall. Okay, so this works on what layer 3 and layer 4, which is like network layer and transport layer, if I'm not wrong. And it is in line with the traffic. If you look at the diagram, a firewall is a device designed to control the flow of the traffic into and out of the network to prevent the network attacks. Right, you understood. There is a email server, we have an application server, and we have a router. And there is, I mean, this is where your company falls in, and whenever there is a communication which has been interacting with the external users, so the firewall will be doing the restriction of certain traffic which you wanted to have a control. Got it? So typically it's a dummy, I mean, dummy tool in the sense you can only create or restrict the traffic based on your inputs. If you don't give any inputs, it will not block. So automation is not there, or probably like it cannot decide the traffic is a malicious traffic or suspicious traffic. It only like identifies the IP addresses from where it is coming and from which IP address the communication is happening. So it will monitor the traffic. Any doubts? ఫైర్వాల్ అర్థమైతేనే మీకు IPS IDS అర్థమవుతుంది. No. Okay. So these are the prime vendors. That means these are the brands which are typically available in the market and most of the companies are using. One is Cisco ASA and Symantec and Juniper and Fortigate. Fortigate is the largest acquisition they have in terms of like supplying the firewalls, and also Palo Alto. So probably at this point you would have seen certain kind of interview calls or recruiters who have asking whether you have experience working with Symantec, Fortigate, Cisco, or EDR solution. Yes or no? So yes. With this understanding, probably you could able to identify the brands, right? The vendors. So nevertheless, like whether you worked on Fortigate or you worked on Juniper or like Symantec or Cisco, it's as simple as like the UI part will differ, but the functionality wise, like the process or the characteristic of a firewall is to block the traffic, and that's what every brand will be doing. But little hiccups are there. Some brands are less in cost, or some have a greater bandwidth in terms of, like, the gauging the traffic. So this kind of characterizations or characteristics will differ with respect to the pricing. So that's how these are the major vendors which are available in the market. And yesterday I was been discussing for one of the use case. So use case is nothing but, like, these are the use cases which are important in terms of findings, if there is any, if they may have any security breaches. That means, in case if you have any security breaches in the future, so the firewall should understand that this could happen, this may happen. It's nothing like prevention is better than the cure. So when you install the firewall, it is good that you come up with this kind of a rules, or creating the use cases, so that whenever there is a too many connections allowed or denied at the firewall, this firewall should pop up a alert to the SIEM tool. Or the other use case may be the traffic from suspicious country. That means you are customer. Let's say you are working for an Australian bank, or probably an Indian bank, SBI. So it is by known that you will have a customers from India, or probably some Australia, or maybe, like, few of them migrated, or maybe, like, they are moved to Australia, or maybe Singapore, or maybe United States of America, or Israel, whatever. But you wanted to specifically restrict some of the geolocations, like the Pakistan, or maybe some like China. So you can do that, and whenever you are restricting the geolocation, so whenever the traffic is hitting this firewall, so that will notify you. So that means, when you don't have a business entity, or when you don't have a customers with respect to that particular country, and you don't want it to allow, and if there are somebody who's trying to enter into our network, then the firewall is going to notify us. So for that purpose, we are going to use the use case, that is traffic from a suspicious country. Got it? And the firewall configuration changes. So typically, who are the one who need to change the configuration? Maybe a network administrator, or maybe a system administrator. Who can somebody be on the mute? Shiva. Shiva. So there is only the authorized person, or, like, the network administrator, who can do the configuration changes in the firewall. Other than that, if somebody is changing, then the your firewall should notify you, so that you can do the investigation whether it is a like legitimate activity or not, or the process which has been initiated by an internal employee or an external employee, you can check. So for that, we are going to use that use case called firewall configuration changes. And if there are any too many VPN access failures and you wanted to get notified, so this is also one of the use case which has been designed for the firewall. And bad IP communication, that means, like, you whenever you are restricted certain site or certain IP in the firewall, still it is trying to communicate, or it is trying to knock your firewall. uh, the firewall will give you a notification, or a kind of an alert, so that you can see, I mean, for why the IP is trying to communicate with us. So these are the few most common rules you can write, or this could be also called as the use cases, for which you can get an alert in the SIEM tool, right? So when it comes to the IPS and IDS, okay, IPS is nothing but the intrusion protection or prevention system, and IDS is intrusion detection system. Okay, let me give this example. firewall. So as per your understanding, what does the firewall do? It will restrict the traffic from incoming to outgoing on the basis of like certain rules, allow rules or deny rules. And basically for that you need to control. I mean, you need to give certain IPs, and then only it will block the traffic. So it's a dummy. Unless and until you don't give, it will not give any alert. Now the IDS is little smarter. Here in the firewall will only monitor the IPs or the traffic which is communicating. But here in the IDS, the name itself says detection system. Now the detection system is something like, whenever in the IP, let's say there is an IP which looks like non-malicious or non-suspicious, but then inside the IP, the traffic or the data or the packet, the data is measured in the packets. If it has any suspicious content, then it will identify and pop an alert to the SIM tool. Understood? So what it is doing, it is monitoring the IP. In terms of monitoring, it is also doing a packet inspection, deep packet inspection, so that in the packet or in the data, if there is any suspicious content, it will identify and it will send an alert to the SIM tool. Now the name says only the detection, intrusion detection system. Now IPS is protection or prevention. Protection or prevention. So this is also does the same job of our IDS. Like, it will do the deep packet inspection of the traffic. It will also detect the suspicious or malicious content in the data. But only the difference is the IPS will directly block. It will not send a notification to the SIM, because it has an ability or the sense of detecting the malicious content in the packet, and it will not send a notification. It will directly block, so that it is not going to wait for any of the third person to involve. Now depending on the business nature of the business, whether you wanted to opt an IDS or an IPS, that will define. Understood? So the firewall will only monitor the IP, but IPS and IDS, what we will do apart from the IPs, it will do the detection of the inside the traffic. If there is any suspicious content or suspicious request which has been identified, then automatically it will detect and sends in case of IDS. And then we need to intervene, as a SOC analyst, we need to intervene and decide whether are you going to allow that traffic or not. Wherein the IPS, it will not wait or send a request or notification or alert to SIM tool. It will directly block that traffic. So that is the difference between an IPS, an IDS, and the firewall. So it performs deep packet inspection. It works at layer 3 and layer 4. It works on signature network pattern. It is deployed in IDS model, learning model, and sits in line with traffic. So now, where does the IPS or IDS or IPS, where does the IPS and IDS sits in this figure? Like, you have a firewall here. So it is always good to have the IPS and IDS after the firewall, because the majority of the traffic, whether you want to allow or not, will be filtered here. And even if you are allowing the traffic, the good IP could also have a malicious content or malicious request. So in that case, like it will do a layer 2 or layer 4 kind of a inspection. If there is any suspicious or malicious traffic which has been found, then it will probably sends a notification in terms of to the SIM if it is a IDS, and if it is an IPS it will block. Understood? So these are like interlinking. All these devices comes under the network security or network prevention system. So in the network prevention system, these are the three major uh, devices which is going to help us in terms of acting in advance if there is any data breach is in way. So out of that, to the extension of the IDS, we have NIDS and HIDS, and also with the extension of IPS, we have HIPS and NIPS. The only thing is IDS is an intrusion detection system, is a device or a software application that monitors a network or system for malicious activity or policy violation. And HIDS, what it does is a system that monitors the important operating system files. That means it will check the operating system files. And in case of NIDS, it will analyze the incoming network traffic. And same it comes with the HIPS. In general IPS, an intrusion protection system is a device or a software application that monitors or prevents a network or a system for malicious activity or policy violation, wherein HIPS, it monitors the important operating system files, and if there is any suspicious found, then it will block. Same with the NIPS, it will monitor or the analyzing the incoming traffic, network traffic. So for that, we have the two use cases: high severity attacks on several machines, too many attacks from a single public IP. Got the thorough understanding or thorough knowledge on the firewall, IPS, IDS, and the use cases. And these are the most commonly asked questions in the interview as well. Okay, so doubts? Any doubts? Yes, please. Yes, please. Sorry, didn't get you. That's a good question, interesting question, logical question. So, how do you get the IPS or the IPs? So, what happens is we have a threat intelligence platforms, now threat intelligence teams who will be working on the most recent attacks which were been happening around. So what they will do is they will prepare a summarized version, they will try to capture the recent attacks, how it has happened, and what basis this hacking or breach has happened. So they will gather those IOCs. Now IOCs are indicators of compromise, which could have a IP address, or it could have a domain or URL, right? So these threat intelligence guys has the I mean they are profound to give that IOCs to the organizations. So these are the IOCs which are available for free of cost, or probably on a paid cost. Like, if you see, yesterday we were doing the virus total analysis, right? If you remember. So we were trying to analyze the one of the phishing domain or URL. So what we did is we have entered that URL here, and let me show you that example. So a few of them has missed it. So I am, as a user, I'm entering this. Okay. Now the virus total has generated this report. Now it is flagged as 11, and there are 11 security vendors who has flagged this URL as malicious. Now the virus total has a record, right? Acha, somebody has searched this URL, and this is malicious. So indirectly they are providing these services for free of cost for us, but indirectly they are capturing all these records. That means this is one of the IOC, one of the indicator of compromise, right? So now what they will do is they will collect all these things, all these malicious URLs and malicious IP addresses, and they will sell in the market. Like, the companies like Deloitte, or like, who runs the cybersecurity practice, they purchase this IOCs, and what they will do is, with this uh, uh, IOCs, they will create a rule in the firewall that, okay, this traffic or these firewall this IPs should not be allowed in the network. So that's how the collection of the IOCs will be done, either by the third party services like VirusTotal or any of the open source threat intelligence platform, or the companies inbuilt, they will hire a threat intelligent guy whose job is to do an R&D, finding out, like, what are the most recent attacks which has been carried out, and in that attacks what were the IOCs which are been involved, and they will be pushing the data to the network team. So in that way they will be getting those IOCs or the traffic or the uh, to them with respect to the recent attacks, and that's how they will apply the rule in this SIM tools or the firewalls. Understood? Clear, right? Doubt got cleared? Yeah. And also, like, whenever you're buying these services, now this Cisco, Symantec, Juniper or Fortigate, they will also have the collection of a few of the IOCs. So that will be provided at the bare minimum cost, whatever they are selling. Like, it's as simple as, like, if you are buying a smartphone, so by default they will have certain applications, right? You need not to buy from outside. So likewise also they will provide some of the IOCs, and if you wanted to have some external applications, then you will be paying and you will be using similar to this same applicables here. Cool. Anyone else got the doubt? So that, today I will stop here only. Tomorrow we will be continuing with proxy and other WAF. Now WAF is something like, web application firewall. This is also a firewall, but this is present in the web application. I mean, so it could be a on cloud premises. So let's say if you are using a e-commerce, I mean, you are working for an e-commerce site like Amazon or Flipkart. So you need an on-premises firewall to monitor the internal traffic of the internal organization or internal company, or maybe, like, another firewall which will be monitoring the traffic over the web server. So, so this is nothing but just an extension to your firewall, but this is going to work at the web application layer or web server. Got it?